Hello, everyone, and good morning to you. Um Today, we will continue about our discussion and our episode about the Israel. Right. Last night, also, as you know, the Israeli war with Palestine. It's not actually the Palestine war. You can say it's a war in between Israel and Hamas. Right. So. Last night also Israel is gonna prepare for the ground operation right now. And as you know, Israel, as per US, Israel has every rights to defend itself because it's a Jewish state. Not since 1940s, it's from the generations, right? This hateism and barbarism uh, by the militant groups Hamas, the terrorist groups Hamas. So it's not a new thing to the Arab world, to the Arabs, because throughout the history, from last 2,000 to 3,000 years, from Abraham Court, and also from the Moses. So these things are happening over and over again. Actually, this is the spreading of the hateism, right, and the barbarism, and they killed brutally thousands of innocent civilians, thousands of innocent children. They attacked to a music festival and musical show on last Saturday, and so many people killed. And just imagine, they found young Israeli teenagers, more than 260 bodies brutally killed by Hamas. So, by the name of Islam, by the name of Christianity or any other religion, if anybody wants to kill the non-believers or innocent civilians, that could, number one, that could not be acceptable. Number two, these presence of Hamas, what they so called uh, they they call the liberation of Israel, liberation of Palestine state. It could not be acceptable because these kind of things over and over again, Western media and Indian media and every media all around the world, they were telecasting and also broadcasted, and the media says that these kind of these kind of attacks cannot be unacceptable. But there are two things I have to tell you. Israel also, they killed so many innocent Palestinians uh, in their land, right? Because I cannot say just this is not a against in between Palestine, and also this is not against into Muslims all around the world who's living all around the world. This is not a war against to any other religion, right? I'm sorry, excuse me. So the if you see the early British support, because of the colonialism of British Empire in 1840s, this is the result which has happened uh, in last 19th century as well as 20th century. So if you think about this scenario, actually it is the early British political support for for an increased Jewish presence in the region of Palestine were based upon the geopolitical calculations on those days, right? This support began in the early 1840s. Also, it was led by the Lord Palmerston. Lord Palmerston, because you know, in British history, there are so many lords there. Lord Byron and Lord John and Lord Abraham and Lord Washington and governors and all those, you know, those high-ranking people. And the support began in 1840s, right? And the following occupation of Syria and the Palestine by the separatist called Ottoman governor Muhammad Ali of Egypt. those days in 1840s. And also the French influence had grown in Palestine and the wider Middle East, and its role is become as a protector of the Catholic communities began to grow, and just Russian influence also as a protector of Catholic communities began to grow in those days, right? I'm talking about the 19th century, and also just as the Russian influence had grown protector of Eastern Orthodox, because Russians, most of the Russians, they are Orthodox people, and Orthodox in the same regions. Uh, this left Britain without the share of spare of influence, and thus a need to find create their own region, regional protecting like protege like a barricade, right? And these political consideration was supported by the sympathetic evangelical Christian sentiments towards the restoration of the Jews of the Palestine, because as long as Jews live there, the Judaism is established there in the state of Palestine and the state of Israel. So the Orthodox Christians, other evangelical groups, as well as Seventh Day Adventists and whoever, Book of Mormon, whatever, whoever the belief, and there are spheres and parts of the uh, like unlike Islam we have only one religion, one God concept in Islam. But Christianity, there are so many branches, right? So many clusters. There are different clusters who believe the cross, who believe the Mother Mary, who believe the Jesus Christ, who believe only the God, who believe only the Bible, and there are so many things, right? The Christian sentiments is a restoration of the Jews in Palestine among the elements of the 19th century in British political elite. It was that time widely spread, and most notably Lord Shaftesbury, and also the British Foreign Office actively encouraged the Jewish immigration to Palestine, right? And as a result of Charles Henry Churchill's 1841 to 1842, and the Moses Montefiore. This is exhortations, the lead of the British Jewish community on those days, right? And this is Sir Charles Henry he was the person, and he was the one who has widely support to early British support into today that we have seen in state of Israel, right? So such efforts was premature and did not succeeded. That was not very much succeeded in those days, right? And only the Jewish, only the 24,000 Jewish of those days uh, were living in Palestine, and on the eve of the emergence of Zionism, right? Zionism is a nationalist movement emerged at the 19th century, exposed to support an establishment of a homeland of Jewish people and the Palestine. The region roughly corresponding the land of Israel and Jewish tradition, right? That's what they have Zionism is based on. Within the world's Jewish community in last 2 decades of 19th century. So that's how it has happened. And with the geopolitical shake-up and the sparking and shake-up, it happens time to time. If you talk about the Chinese Indo-Pacific corridor, and uh, Malacca Strait choking, and Indian Ocean issues, and the Suez Canal issues. 6 days of 6 days of war in Israel. There are some geopolitical gaming, and also even today you can see exactly the Ukraine war also geopolitical shaping. I mean, I don't feel actually there should not be a uh, one leader policy, right? There should be a balance in the world, east and the west, and also nowadays there is a world bring into a new order. World brings into we bring into a new order. It means to say that China gained the power these days, and uh, likewise China and Japan and those countries. We have lot of resources and the resourceful countries, as well as the largest economy and the most powerful nations we have in Asia these days. So likewise, those days also in 19th century, within the geopolitical shake up occasions the outbreak of the First World War, right? First World War. Remember, two world wars happening because of the Jewish people. Two world wars. So this is some kind of a somebody can say it's a kind of a conspiracy, right? So this is how it happens. And, in early calculations, which had lapsed for some times and lead to renewal and strategic assessments and political bargaining of the Middle East over the Middle East and the Far East. British also has anti-Semitism, and somehow, although this is although the other factors played in their part. Jonathan Sketcher, Sketchner or someone. I'm not very much familiar, and I'm not very much. You can say it's. I'm not very much. Pronunciation is not very much influenced by the British. I'm not. I'm saying because I'm not a British person, to be honest with you. So says that the Jonathan Schreiner says that the uh, statistical thinking of British official, right? British officials, but the Jews also played the role in decision. The issues of the Declaration and the Robert Council and Hugh Bloimer and the Sir Mark Sky Keys, if I could remember his name correctly, to held. And it's a it's a it's a kind of an unrealistic view of the world jury. And the former writing, he said that I do not think it's possible to exaggerate the international power of the Jewish. But when it comes to power of the Jewish people, uh, you can say at the moment in US, the House of Representatives and the Capitol Hill, there are so many Jewish people, Jewish descendants, Jewish people. They're still living, and they're still getting more power in US Senate. For example, if you think about the wealthiest people in the world, the most wealthiest people in the world, they are Jewish people, right? They have a lot of businesses. They have multinational companies. Then a lot of businesses they have on their own, right? So, uh, so in fact, it happens certainly. They support for their Jewish diaspora. They support for the Israel and Jewish people and their community, as the way Muslims and Iran supports uh, for the Hezbollah and also for Hamas, right? That's how it goes. And uh, I do not know in the future. I could say you this kind of there's a prediction, but I'm not quite sure about what will happen. But what I can say certainly, uh, in the meantime, there will be a shaking of the world power in the next decades, next 2 decades, right? And certainly, Israel needs more support from US and other allies, because as long as Israel is self-dependent, and as long as Israel has a lot of plans and to controlling the world, so it is they will they will be existing as a powerful nation in this world, right? So There's a everything has a left wing and the right wing, as you know, right? Uh, so this is how it goes, and in the, as I said before, U.S. Senate also there are so many people, so many senators from Jewish nationality. They are Jewish Americans, right? Israeli Americans. So the infrastructure and the background has been built up, right? And also, if you see, I don't. He said the Zionism also and the Jewish nationalist movement also into power those days, and the Zionist representatives saw the advantage into encourage such views on those days in 1840s, and the British anti-Semitism movement. The person called Major General James Malcolm Leslie Renton. He died in 1972, and also concurs writing that the British foreign policy elite, and including Prime Minister David Lloyd George and the Foreign Secretary A.J. Balfour, believed that the Jews possessed real and significant power that could be of use to them in the war, right? And also, uh, early Zionism also we can say that it is kind of influence for establish the state of Israel. And if you see about the Ottoman Palestine, because after the declaration of Balfour Declaration, British has to dismantle the Ottoman Empire. So they did very smoothly and very softly, right? And in 1916, marked for centuries since Palestine and the becoming part of the Ottoman Empire, known as the Turkish Empire, right? And for the most of the periods, the Jewish population represented in a small minority in Palestine, right? And approximately 3% of the total Muslims are representing the largest segment of the population in those days, and the Christians are the second. And the Ottoman government, Constantinople, now it's Istanbul, began to apply the restrictions on Jewish immigration on Palestine in 1882 to the Palestine. And in response to that, Alpha first Aliyah earliest these days. British government just they want to instead of declaring a war into Ottoman Palestine, they smoothly, softly, and little by little they remove. They want to dismantle the Ottoman Palestine, Ottoman Empire. Finally, what happened? They did it. They did it. That's how it goes. And the Ottoman government actually mainly among the merchants and the notable classes in 1901, and Sublime Sublime Porte, the Ottoman general government gave the Jewish the same rights as Arabs to buy the lands and do the business and start the schools, start the churches, and all those things, right? And Palestine and the percentages of Jewish population rise in 1914 up to 7%, right? Up to 7%. At the same time, the growing uh, distrust of the young Turks, the Turkish nationalists. There are nationalist government all over the world. We can see these as right. So the Turkish nationalists who had taken control of the empire in 1908, and the second Aliyah also, Arab nationalism, and the Palestine nationalism was on the rise on the 1908. I'm talking about the Ottoman Palestine, right? And in the Palestine, and the anti-Zionism was a characteristics that unified these forces, for those forces, right? And the historians do not know whether these strengthening forces could still have ultimately, as a result to conflict in the absence of the welfare absence of the welfare declaration. So it is unknown actually, but it is the fact, right? It is the fact. So actually, that's how it has reversed into the Jewish side. Actually, pre-British commitments over the Palestine in 1915 and 1916. The late 1950s, the British High Commissioner to the Egypt, Henry McMahon, exchanged 10 letters to Hussein bin Ali, Sharif of Makkah, in which the promise to Hussein to recognize Arab independence and in the limits of the boundaries proposed by the Sharifs of Makkah, right? In return, Hussein laughed in a revolt against Ottoman Empire, and he pledged excluded the portion of Syria, right? Syria, and also lying the west of the destruction of Damascus and Homs and Hama and Aleppo. Those days. In the decades after, the war has extended in the like a coastal coastal exclusion was wholly disputed, hotly hotly disputed over the Palestinians, and there was some kind of some people says that British is the one who made this influence to the over influence over the Jewish people, likewise, as they said. But when it comes to the present days, if you think when it comes to the present days, at the moment, what is happening in Israel, not because of only for the Palestine, it's all about the Masjid Al Aqsa. As I explained you yesterday, also Masjid Al Aqsa is for the Muslims, as the Muslim says, as the Quran says. Muhammad Rasulullah he went to from Mecca to Medina, and from Medina to Masjid Al Aqsa in Jerusalem, the holy city of Jerusalem. From the Jerusalem uh, he went to the up heaven, we call Jannah, uplifted by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, as they said, as the Quran says. But Jewish, it's a first thing is the Temple of Gold. Temple of Gold, and they said there's a temple. Or temple means it's a kind of a Jewish like a church. You can say it's like a church. So what has happened those days? Early history. If you say before the Islam, before the birth of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and these things related only for the Christian and the Jewish. Then the third party comes. Third party comes means the third rise up religion comes as Islam, right? So this holy site, the Masjid Al Aqsa, this is the place of birth of the Jesus Christ. God and the Catholics, that we believe He's the God, He's the Son of God, and Holy Spirit, and the Father, Holy Father, uh, the Holy Trinity. And this is the place of the birth of the Jesus Christ, number one. Number two, uh, uprising of the Romans, Jesus Christ was crucified, and as per the Catholicism, and this is the place of there are so many holy things, holy stories, in very important to the Christianity and the Jewish as well as also into the Catholics. If you think about the last 2,000 years, history cannot be erased, history cannot be deleted. So in this kind of movements, nowadays the Quran says this is the holiest site, one of the holiest sites in Islam, and the Jewish says the Masjid Al Aqsa is they have to pray. So this is most holiest place for the Jewish people. And Christian says, and Orthodox also Christians, this is also one of the holiest sites, not one of the holiest sites for the Catholicism. This is the most holiest site in Catholicism. So this is how it is going to evolve. So in this case, actually Hamas and their as per their declaration of war, and as per them, they need to get the Masjid Al Aqsa into their hand. It's not an easy thing because this Masjid Al Aqsa belongs to originally belongs to the Jewish people in early history, right? And after Prophet Muhammad, this is a part of it belongs to the Muslims as per Quran, right? So instead of live in peace and harmony, all the people they believe that each one has a right to defend him themselves, and each and everyone has a right to defend on their own religion. Yes, I do believe Islam people they have a right to defend their religion and their community and their lands, whatever it is. Also, Jewish has it. So, if you see the prehistory, who's come first? There belongs to that land. As for the Christianity, this is a promised land, and as per the Catholicism, as per the Bible, it's a promised land. Jesus Christ called in Bible, he said, "My children, the children of Israel, for the Jewish." So, in that case, Israel is a sovereign state. Uh, they have uh, they have sovereignty, they have liberty, they have liberation state, they have each and every matters, every right to defend themselves. Because we cannot accept, not because of Islam, not because of Jewish, not because of being as a Jewish, not because of being as a Muslim. Every life is a matter. Number one. Number two, hateism, barbarism, and also killing the innocent civilians and children, women and children, killing the innocent, raping the innocent girls, attacking to the innocent civilians, and killing the innocent civilians, and executing innocent civilians, taking the hostage of the innocent civilians. That could not be acceptable. That is called barbarism. That is called the hateism. That is called the terrorism. That is terrorism. We fight with the devils. We don't fight with the humans. This is not a humanity. That they so called Allah Akbar and killing the people. Is it Islam? No, it's not Islam. It's not Islam, my friends. It's not Islam. It's not Islam. It is hateism. It is barbarism. It is against the human society. Huh? It is against the humanity. Being as a Muslim, being as a brotherhood, being as a human. If you want to become a good Muslim, before you have to become a good human. This is what Islam says. Islam says it's all about the peace, harmony, humanity. It's the fastest growing religion in the world, my friends. That's called Islam. We are human beings. We are the people. We are not in this world to killing the people. We are not in this world to killing the non-believers. If any religion, any texture, any book, if they say, if to, instead of being as a Muslim, if you are being a Christian and Jewish, to killing them, execute them, slaughtering them, it's not a religion. They don't believe the religion. They don't believe Allah. They believe Hadism. So they believe Shaitan. That's how it goes. Satan. The modern Islam, the reality of Islam is not like this. In Islam, Surah Al-Tawbah, it's mentioned how to make the jihad and how to defend yourself in every right you have. Read the Quran, and instead of reading and making perspectives, if anyone killing the innocent civilians, that is not accepted. So I personally believe Israel has right to defend itself. Number one, I strongly accept Israel is a sovereign state. Number two, number three, I strongly accept the Israel as a state. Israel, Palestine belongs to the Jewish. Not not last century, not before that, thousands years before, since the thousands years before. That's what I believe. Pray for Israel, pray for the Palestine, pray for the Muslims, pray for the Muslims, pray for all over the world, to everybody. If you have a problem, remember, if you have a problem, if you got a problem, the best way to resolve the problem, find a solution for the problem, how to solve it. Be patient, communication, make a communication light, communication bridge, make discussion. Come to the table and talk. Otherwise, if you can take, instead of taking the Bible and instead of taking Quran, instead of praying, if you take the gun, that will be a catastrophic. That be end of the world war. Ending with the bomb. That's how it goes. See you there. God bless you. Bye bye.